Hey everyone, back at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about horror games I think you should play before and after Halloween. Hoping you all will find something interesting on this list, and also, happy Halloween. Let's get right into it. Here's Guilt. Now, this game actually, I believe, came out quite a few years ago, like I think, believe back in 2019-20, but it was a Stadia exclusive, if you guys remember that system. Thank goodness the developers decided to expand the game, because I don't think a lot of people would know about it if it just stayed on the Stadia. And of course, now it has a physical release. Now, you play as a young girl named Sally who's looking for her missing cousin Emily. Now, Emily, I believe, has been missing for a month when the game starts, and pretty much the game starts with you putting up posters, letting everybody know that she's missing. But unfortunately, during the search, your character gets bullied by neighborhood kids, ends up getting lost, and you're trying to find your way back home. When you go to the train station that you find, you see this weird conductor, and the conductor says, hey, you got to buy this ticket to go home. You buy the ticket, and all of a sudden you go to this jacked up looking city that's just, it's like a mirror image of, I believe, where Sally goes to school at. But it's just pretty twisted, and I found the game to be pretty eerie as I played through it. It really gave me an unnerving feeling about what was around the corner, because you're playing as a child in this game. She's only 11 years old, and she's going through a school like at nighttime in other parts of the city. And it's just like, it just looks very eerie, and the monsters in this game are just like terrifying looking. You know, I just feel bad for her. But mostly in the beginning of the game, you'll be kind of like playing stealth, like trying to hide from your enemies until you figure out how to take them out, or if you need to take them out. Some enemies you could just walk past. Some enemies are patrolling, so you have to be very careful. And some enemies are just like, they pretty much stalk you, so you have to be quiet when you can and run if you have to. Now, I wanted to mention also that I have played this game on live streams, and those videos are up, so if you want to check those videos out and see how it is, you know, definitely give those a watch. I might actually start doing more live streams. But anyways, going back into the game, I like how it gives you that sense of what's around the corner. It just feels like, I know I say this term a lot, but it just feels unnerving, just like a survival horror game should be. Oh, also, I did want to mention that the game has multiple endings, so depending on how you play the game, you'll get a different ending. There's a good ending, a bad ending, and a selfish ending, I would say. So, anyways, guys, definitely check out Guilt. Let me know what you think about it.
Hey, Sally! You still looking for your cousin?
What'd you do to her?
Sally, we know you're here.
You can't hide from us.
There's still a chance for you to make things right, Sally. You must find Emily. She is the key to ending this nightmare.
This is Tormented Souls for the PlayStation 4. I've been waiting to play this game forever, and now it's finally here. So just to describe this game a little bit, if you're familiar with survival horror games, and these are the old school survival horror games like Dino Crisis, Resident Evil, hell, even Chaos Break, but I don't think anybody knows about Chaos Break. You will know what to expect here, and it is done really well. So with the old school survival horror games, they really don't give you too much story in the beginning. You know, they give you very minimal, and they throw you into a crazy situation. And this game does the same thing. You end up going to this mansion hospital place, and you get knocked out, and next thing you know, you wake up in a tub. And when you wake up, you pretty much have some parts missing. I'm not going to tell you guys which, but most of you guys probably already know anyways. But definitely this game pulls no punches. It has a very clever puzzles so far. I haven't got that far in the game yet, but the puzzles so far, pretty clever, very unique. If you guys think this game is too dark, no, that's just the way the game is in the beginning, because the electricity is not running in certain areas. So you have to use your lighter, and you have to be very careful in this game, because if there's dark areas you try to walk into, you will get killed immediately. So be very careful. Stay in the light. Try to stay safe. And if something's chasing you, You gotta go old school Resident Evil style. Make sure you get it a good camera angle and start blasting away.
Trabajamos audinos aradia ipse.
Just acknowledge. So a lot of people were hitting me up saying, Reggie, you got to play this game. It is amazing. A true survival horror gem. And, I just didn't get time to play it when I was told about it. But after finally playing this game now, I was blown away. I mean, this really feels like I'm playing an old school PS1 game. Like, this game is like one of those survival horror games where you truly don't know what to expect. I've been playing survival horror games for years, and I kind of could piece stuff together. But this game, the whole time I was playing it, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I know all I knew was I'm trying to survive. Now, I can't go too much into the story, but you play as an android named Elser. I gotta go back and look at it. But anyways, and this android made a promise to a human, and you're trying to find out what happened to this base. Like, a lot of people, well, everybody's pretty much dead. You're trying to find out what's going on. The game has some clever puzzles, but I didn't like that the game started off with a puzzle, kind of. I was like, man, I wanted to kind of get it to flow a little bit before a puzzle happens. But usually the puzzles are pretty easy if you just sit there and think for a second. It's just the timing of it for me. It's just like, I get impatient. I want to go, go, go. But I want to say this game did a lot of things well for a, I want to say like old school style game for modern consoles. I would say, the game had a good flow besides some of the puzzles. Some of the puzzles in the later game get pretty clever. I'll just let you guys know right now, so be ready. What I do want to make sure I let everybody know is that the enemies in this game are pretty fast and tough to deal with. So you probably want to get used to how your character moves around and try to avoid most enemies, because ammo in the game, though it's not dropped a lot and everything, so you want to kind of conserve it as much as you can. Well, I shouldn't say that, just know when to pick your battles pretty much. If you can avoid an enemy, do it. If not, take them out. Now, the environments in the game look good, but sometimes items that you interact with, tend to bleed in with the environment. Like, you think you need to pick up something and it ends up being nothing but just part of the environment. So I wish the game would kind of show items easier that you could interact with, instead of just, I don't know. I think that's an issue I ran into, that's thinking I could pick up certain items. But anyways, this game does an excellent job of bringing survival horror to modern consoles with a old school look. So definitely put this one on your radar. If you're looking for a physical copy of the game, I would say go to Amazon. That's where I got mine. And if you already played a good portion of the game, let me know what you think about it in the comments. Here's Dread Out Part 2. Now, the original game came out on Steam a few years back, and it's unfortunate that did not get a physical release, but at least we got one of the games, and this is actually the better game. So Dread Out is pretty much a survival horror game where you're dealing with what I would say pretty much urban legends. So the game kind of throws a lot at you. If you play games like Fatal Frame, you'll kind of know what you're getting into here. You actually attack enemies with your camera phone and other various objects. Now, this is one survival horror game that gets straight to the point. First of all, it starts you off at a school at night, and it looks terrifying. Now, while you're at the school, it seems like it's pretty empty, but this is the best time to kind of get used to the controls in the game. Now, you play as Linda, the protagonist from the first game, and pretty much this game starts where the last game left off. Now, at nighttime is where you have to really fight enemies, and during the daytime, you get to walk around the city, go to dorms in the village and all that stuff, do all your traveling and look around. But when it's night, that's when it's time to fight. And this game just it throws all kind of weirdness at you, and that's one of the things I really like about it. The urban legend hook is really going to pull a lot of people in, because all the different types of monsters you'll see and all kind of the weirdness will really throw some people through a loop. Now, there's a part early in the game where you get a live stream going on your phone, and it's basically this girl blaming you for what's going on all these people's deaths. And I was like, what the heck is this? And pretty much, this girl was pretty much saying it's on site. So when I left the school, I wasn't expecting this, but she was waiting for me at the front door, and pretty much a boss fight started, so I had to take her out. I got past it the first time thanks to like practicing how to move in the game, and using the phone against her was pretty easy. But how she appeared in the game was kind of like a foreshadowing of what things to come, pretty much. So you're gonna always have to keep your head on the swivel in this game because you never know what it's gonna throw at you. And I think a lot of survival horror fans will like that. So keep this one on your radar. And also, they have a movie out for it. I did not even know this, but there's a movie on Dread out. So definitely check that. Well, let me know if you guys have seen it, if it's any good, so you can save me some time from watching it if it's bad. But anyways, this game is good. Definitely check it out. The Long Reach. So if you like pixelated 2D games, this game will be right up your alley. Now, it's kind of hard to explain the story with this game, but I'll do my best. So basically, you're in a town that had some failed experiments going on, and basically what happened was people's nightmares are manifesting into reality. So you're seeing all kind of crazy stuff happen that's like impossible right in front of you. And even the beginning of the game is insane. You go in the grocery store, something's going on in the back. You get knocked out cold by one of the assailants, and while you're recovering, the guy picks up an axe and just he goes to town. It's just pretty crazy stuff like that. You're trying to figure out what's going on. And I'm going to say it's kind of difficult unless you kind of pay attention to everything. You know, you choose certain dialogue. But the game is trippy because it has that unknown factor. You never know what's going to happen next. You know, open up a door, something just runs right at you and grabs you. We're talking about scares like that, so you have to be ready for everything. Hopefully, most of you have noticed that this game pretty much takes inspiration from Lone Survivor, if you guys remember that game. That was a creepy psychological survival horror game that just, man, needs more love. But going back into this one of the more joyful things about this game is the shock value of the story when you do find out like kind of what's going on. Also, the game does has its fair share of puzzles, not anything too crazy, just to kind of mix up the gameplay a little bit. But definitely, I would say keep this one on your list if you're looking for a good survival horror game. Song of Horror, a throwback survival horror game. Now, when I say survival horror game, it's like, I wouldn't want to kind of say it's a throwback of the old school survival horror games. Think of something like maybe Resident Evil Remake, and how those games, Dino Crisis as well, and how those games have the different camera angles dynamic. This game brings that back, which is fantastic, and it does it really well. Now, I don't want to go too much into the game because I don't want to ruin the story for a lot of you. I'm just going to talk about the first two characters you get to use. So the first character you get to use is Daniel in the prologue. He pretty much arrives home on a Friday evening ready to watch the X-Files, and he gets a phone call saying that someone's missing, and his friend wants him to go look for him. I forgot, it was like some professor guy. I totally forgot his name. Sorry about that. But anyways, guy goes missing, and they want you to investigate. Now, you know where this is going. You go into the house, and you look around. It's very creepy, and you find a crazy door that shouldn't even be there. You go in that door, and pretty much that's the end of the prologue. So the next character you play as is Daniel's ex-wife. Now, this is where you're going to see most of the gameplay I'm showing from. This is where the game kind of shows you what it's all about. Pretty much there is a mist, and the mist is stalking you in this house. You don't know it right away, but it's coming at you. And if it comes at you, you have a warning usually. Usually, like it tries to come through a door, and you have to hold the door shut. If you don't hold the door shut, that's it for you. Game over, and that character is dead for the rest of the game. So it changes the dynamic of the story pretty much. Now, the first thing I usually like to learn in a survival horror game is to control my character properly. In these type of games, when you're being stalked or chased, you want to know how to move your character around properly, make them run pretty much, you know. And that's the first thing I think you should learn in this game. Make sure you know how to control your character properly, because it sucks when you're being chased or stalked by something and you're just trotting along. You want to make that character run like their life depends on it pretty much. So make sure you learn the controls before you kind of get into the game. Now, this game is creepy. It actually tripped me out, and that's pretty hard to do. I've seen it all in survival horror games, and this game got me at a couple of moments. I don't want to tell you guys what they are, but something you probably know what they were in the game if you played this game, a good portion of this game. Now, the second character you get to play in this game is Sophie. Well, actually, she's the second character I chose because you could choose between like 3 or 4 other characters. I chose her because she's Daniel's wife, and that's a character we played as in the prologue, so I wanted to kind of continue his story. She's going to look for her husband, and her portion of the game is pretty scary because she goes into the house at night, and she's pretty much walking around with a candle, pretty much trying to keep things lit up, and it just really sets this eerie atmosphere. It'll really trip you out. But as I was playing with her, that's where I learned like most of the mechanics of the game pretty much. So holding doors, you can actually go up the doors and listen what's on the other side in case something feels wrong or whatnot, because sometimes if you just walk into a door, that shadow will be there, that mist I would say, and it'll take you, and that's it for that character. So you don't want that to happen. So be very careful playing this game. It's very crazy. There's 13 characters you could choose from, not right away, but pretty much during different periods of the game, which is pretty cool. 13 characters to try out, so it keeps things interesting. If you are a survival horror fan, I think this game is a must-have, because the guys who created this game, you could tell they're fans of the old school survival horror games, so that's a big plus in my book.
Isaac, my dear friend, you don't know what you've done with that cursed music box.
What was that noise? Is that music?
At the time you tried to warn me, we had all heard the music. I only hope you're all safe, and that you will find a way to forgive me.
Mr. Faber. Good. Time to play detective.
Lately, I feel like something odd has gotten into Professor Husher. He seemed anxious about something and...
I can't stop thinking about it. That song, it follows me everywhere. How long can I keep running away? Now, I find myself trapped in a tragic race against time.
What is this?
I lied, Isaac. I'm sorry. I still don't know what I'm up against. That melody. I'm not going to get it out of my head, am I?
Alright, so here is Alone in the Dark. Yes, we finally got a new Alone in the Dark game, and they actually did a good job on this one. So I just want to start off. You get to play as two characters in this game. I chose Edward Carmody because he is the main star of the series. But I do hear that the girl, if you play with her, it's more like you find out more of the mystery of the story, I would say. So it's more story driven on her side. But I had to go with Edward, and this game did not disappoint. Now, I have not played the first three Alone in the Dark games, but I come to find out that this is a remake of the first game, I believe. So just to start off, you're in this mansion. You're looking for the girl's uncle. And the mansion is pretty much like your hub. I mean, you feel like you're safe in there, but at the same time, you don't. And I'll kind of go into that a little bit in a second here. But I love how the game pulls you in to really want to know what's going on. You know, when the games do that, you know, they've done their job, and they did that with me. So the mystery really pulled me in. Reading the notes definitely helped out with the story, and all the notes you read on the side are voice acted, so I thought that was pretty cool they added that in. I like how the game kind of transitions to the other world, because sometimes you won't even realize it. Now, the enemies in the game are pretty creepy. You have like swamp monsters and like all kind of like just hideous stuff, so be prepared for that. But you only usually have to face them in the other world. Now, the puzzles in this game were pretty clever. They helped put a break in the action, which I didn't want to happen, but still, they were pretty good. Some bad news, though, and unfortunately, this game did not sell well enough, so the company that put it together got disbanded from what I'm hearing, so this might be the last Alone in the Dark game we see in a while. But I do want to put out there that this is a solid game. It's not a AAA title. It's more like an A or AA title, but it's really well done, guys, and it didn't deserve, you know, the company get disbanded, but that's how it goes these days, unfortunately. But if you pick this one up, you're in for a solid adventure.